Good evening. As soon as I posted my first video on YouTube, someone placed a note there saying that Christianity is the biggest enemy of science. You're welcome to pass remarks on what I post on YouTube, and I would try to respond to as many of them as possible. In fact, there is a common notion that science is the enemy of Christianity and Christianity is the enemy of science. I would not dispute it, because in this series of lectures on Bible and science, I am not speaking about Christianity and science. I am speaking about Bible and science, and there is a vast difference between these two. Christianity is a community. It is a community of people. The community claims that they believe in the Bible and that they follow the Bible. But as anyone can see, there is so much variation within the community that not all of them are following the Bible. So here in this series of classes, I'm not trying to defend Christianity. And if you say that Christianity has been an enemy of science, I would agree that yes, a good number of Christians, especially those Christians who lived at the time when science was making major breakthroughs, did show some kind of enmity to science. But it doesn't mean that Bible is contrary to science or that Bible is against science. It also doesn't mean that Christianity out of necessity has to be against the Bible. Nor does it mean that Bible forces Christians to be against the Bible. These things should be clear right from the beginning of this class. When you speak about Christianity, that's a big group of heterogeneous people. And if we look into mankind's history, we would understand that anywhere, take any country, any season, any time in human history, whenever people became organized, they were opposed to objective thinking. Doesn't mean that all the organized people were against. It also doesn't mean that among the organized, 100% were against objective thinking. No, not at all. A good percentage. But a good percentage were also in favor of objective thinking. And if you would look into the history of Europe, you would find that there definitely was a very enlightened group of people within the Christian community who were in favor of science, who started royal societies, who started objective investigation into nature and universe, and who promoted all kind of royal societies. In fact, it is those societies started by Christian fathers in Europe which eventually became royal societies or the forerunners of royal societies. And you would also discover that the modern education system and especially the university system also received a lot of boost from the Christian community. So if you say that Christian community has been against science, yes, I would say a lot of them, but not all, number one. Number two, my purpose in this series is not to defend the Christian community, but rather to speak something about the Bible. I would definitely like to say that Bible has a lot of relation with science, and that Bible has never suppressed science, and that science has never discredited the Bible. That's my main thesis. So let's come to that. Yesterday, in my last lecture, I reminded you that science is a collection of information. The main aim is to find out or discover objective information, but the universe is much more complex than anyone can handle in any laboratory in the world, and therefore all the information that has been collected falls into various categories. Some of them are highly reliable, some of them are highly unreliable. You can't change it. That's the way knowledge is gained. But since we already know that some categories are highly reliable and some are not that reliable, it's always good for us to classify that information into manageable groups. Yesterday I proposed two very convenient groups. One, the established facts and laws of science, and two, the unestablished theories and hypotheses of science. It's a very convenient way of classifying all the information. My subject is physics, and if you ask me, I would say yes, all the information that is available in physics today can easily be classified into established and non-established categories. And once that is done, a very interesting thing emerges. Whether it is physics or chemistry or astronomy, take any branch of science, and from that branch of science, if you pick up established information, you would find that established information has never questioned any statement of the Bible. You might be surprised at my assertion, and I say don't believe. You don't have to believe just because I am saying. See, I am a believer in Bible, and therefore naturally I would favor the Bible. But I invite you to do your investigation based upon my proposal, and here is my proposal or my thesis. No established fact of science, no established truth of science, no law of any science has ever questioned any statement in the Bible. The reverse is also true. No statement of the Bible has ever questioned any established fact of science. The crux of the argument is established fact, the laws of science. There are lots of theories, but then a theory doesn't have much in favor of it. That's why it's a theory. It is a sort of an intermediate stage between observation and final conclusion. But a theory in itself doesn't represent established information. So my dear friend, you may feel that Christianity is against science. I have nothing to say about that, because that's not the thesis of this series. The thesis of this series is this: no established fact of science has ever questioned a statement of Bible, and no statement of Bible has ever questioned an established fact of science. Think about it. And in the next lecture we will have a lot more to say about it. But if you have any questions related to this, you are most welcome to post it. And as I said, you don't have to believe it just because I said. You pick up from where I leave this in front of you, and you do the investigation and write back to me or contact me and tell me, show me one established fact of science, one established law of science which has contradicted the Bible. Not Christianity. Please remember, we are not talking about Christianity. We are talking about Bible. Show me, if you can, an established fact of science or an established law of science which has contradicted the Bible. I would like to see if you can produce something like that. And please come back for the next lecture in this series. God bless you.